Now, the train that stopped is the A train that stopped on Railroad and Hickory Dickory Dock, and the mouse and all that clock and all that shit, right? It stopped. Now, again, it's another railroad track that is parallel right next to this motherfucking A train track. And that's the track that goes through Bell and Mingo and go all the way to Oklahoma and probably all over the world. I don't know because I never tracked it. You hear me? Now, because that's the area where the A train stops, that where Texas Women's University is currently, that is the area that they booted the black people out of. Right? Now, again, let's go back to first and last. Because Denton, or Texas, period, was the last people to recognize that the slaves were free. Right? I mean, because that's why we have Juneteenth down here. Right? Which so happened to be the month of my birthday. Right? But anyway, I'm just throwing that out there because I know who I am. Like I said, story, women really are not in the Bible like that. I mean, you have Mary Magdalene or whatever the heck her name was, and she was a whore, like a streetwalker. Anyway, and then what's crazy is that we do have a community college, and I guess originally it's in Gainesville or Corinth, which are neighbors to Denton, Texas, right? Corinth is the closest, which Corinth, they took out Thians, IANS, Corinthians, because that's in the Bible story, right? But I ain't done, because shit, I got more to say. Hold on. Because if we go back to the cemetery that really has the slaves there, I mean, I think I traced it back to 1880 or something like that, which is two eights, right? Wait a minute, I gotta look this up again because if this is 288 in the loop and all that shit, give me 1 second. I was right, and that kind of just really pissed me off, but I ain't gonna show it because again, like I said, I know who I am, right? And I'm just solving this goddamn mystery like Scooby Doo is shit. Scooby Dooby Doo, yeah, me. I mean, smelling shit, sniffing shit. I get excited too, y'all, but you know, um, it is what it is, I guess. So because I knew I was right and everything like that, so you mean to tell me if because y'all had an alliance. Y'all came together and made the first federal underground center ever in the Americas be in Denton, Texas, off of Loop 288. The first one. Because, we talking about one in source and all that shit, right? And this goddamn here cemetery aligns with in 1888, which is 2/8. Because we playing a alpha and a numerical game, you know, like bingo, a mingo bingo and shit. I'm just saying, like, it is clear to me that I done knocked the motherfucking Mario coins out this bitch. You hear me? Y'all be blessed though, cause Goddess Gang is definitely in the building. I told you I was married to the game. Like I've been playing all the goddamn games: Candyland, Clue, motherfucking Scooby Dooby Doo. Yeah. Wouldn't be me if I didn't have my little comeback, right? So when I look at the number, not the number, well, I guess number three, because that's the Holy Trinity and everything like that. If you look at the W, you flip it, it's three. If you look at the B, you take the curb off, the hook off, you get a three. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there. And then you can flip the W and the M and all that stuff and shit. I done talked about that in multiple videos because whatever. I mean, I'm just me. I just had to throw that out there though. The 8 as well, but because we living in a loophole. We don't understand that we going in a loop. You hear me? In a whole loop. That's a circle of life, though, for real. Because what the power people did was cast the spell, the real spell. You hear me? And then they hooked us. You know what I'm saying? They hooked us. You hear me? With the remote. Boop boop. You hear me? Understand what I just said right there. Remote. And you know what they do with the M? You can turn it into a B. The boat. Yeah, man. That they stole and shit like that. Since they stole some fucking pirate shit and shit like that, we don't realize that we are spiritual beings living in the motherfucking body of water. This our body. We got ported in this motherfucker. Because we're spiritual. This is the boat. Anyway. They remoted us. Reprogrammed us. But y'all be blessed. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's the John yard where we buried at in St. John's Cemetery and shit. And I forgot to mention that this St. John Cemetery has about 400 or so people in the cemetery that they boxed in, you know, in the pizza box and stuff like that, since they got us in a frame, you know, living in a circle loop. But, I mean, I'm just pointing out the obvious, you know, because I have to go back and, you know, because I'll be thinking about shit after I have made the videos and stuff like that. So I'm going to repost this video. But you understand what I'm saying, you know. You know, they took the zeros out of the double O. You know, in the independent order of I fellas, it's IOOF, you know. I'm just, they, you know, they fell low, you know. But anyway. And remember, that's independent order of Odd fellows. You hear me? Fellas. The first federal underground center ever created in existence in the Americas is in Denton, Texas, off of Loop 288. And Denton, Texas also has two universities, the University of North Texas, which is the Eagles, where they soar above water and the sea level we do not see. And they have Texas Women's University, which are the Pioneers, and they have a mascot of an owl. Who with you? Where the three buildings, the universities, the two universities, and the First Federal Underground Center, now called FEMA, is all connected underground. Now, Denton, Texas has a history of booting the minorities, the black people, the African Americans, whatever you call them back then, from the area by the Civic Center where Texas Women's University now exists to over on the south side of the tracks off of by the puzzle pieces, so by off of Lakey and Frame and Morse and stuff like that, like Morse Code Street, right? I've been doing research on this cemetery called St. John's Cemetery in Pilot Point, Texas, which is about 15-20 minutes away from Denton, Texas. And in my research on this cemetery that UNT did a little story on, I can't find that story, but they did a whole little story on it. This cemetery is being charged to have maintenance. And so they called me to figure out where the money is, right? Right. But before I knock the Mario coins out of this puzzle piece, you hear me? What I discovered was the word John, Saint John. So John is like we use in the bathroom, like I'm going to the John to take a shit and a pee, right? Now because we're in the cycle and I know who I am finally, I know why I was called to do my little investigation on this cemetery. And so, since I did my little due diligence and stuff like that, I realized something. Now, let's go back to first. Because this Denton has the first Federal Underground Center, Denton also has Texas Women University off of Liberty Bell, like Bell, street. You hear me? And then, not only that, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. Hold on. Because you know what they did with the bells. And then, Denton also has University of North Texas, where they had the Eagles. And, Eagles is on the money and stuff, Mario Coin, you hear me? Anyway, hold on. I ain't done. Now, because a long time ago, I made a video on the streets, because I told you I'm a street walker, and I walk these here streets, and I walk in the Green Mile. UNT just so happened to be green and white. Anyway, I had on green and white today when I went out on my little trophy. I went to the Game Changers place, and I had on green and white. Like, and I call myself a frog, like Kermit the Frog, but I ain't no man or nothing like that. But that's beside the point I'm trying to make. What I'm trying to say is, what happens above happens below, and everything happens everywhere all at one time. I did a street walk on Mayhill. So, Mayhill Road has a treatment plant, which is a waste plant, and then it actually starts on Mayhill and then it turns into Spencer. So, like, and then it turns into, it stops at Spectrum, Anyway, I'm gonna keep repeating myself because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So anyway, on Spencer, they also have a Spencer Generating Power Plant and American Legion, all on the same road, literally. So it actually dead ends to the treatment plant, which is the waste plant, which, they shit on us, right? So, because we also are in St. John's Cemetery, because while I was out doing my little research, I was talking to these men and I was talking about the cemetery and they were telling me that they heard from it. And in my head, a voice was like, "Cause you in it," you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I know who we are, right? You probably don't, whatever. Anyway, that's also beside the point I'm trying to make. You hear me? And it's funny how, because we're in a loop hole, and you hear me? And so they moved us from one place to another and then aligned us with the waste management plant, which is also on the same line, the power plant. And then Morse Street just so happens to be over there, which is Morse Code Street. And then, I mean, it's so obvious that I'm not done. Hold on. And then parallel to the power plant is the train tracks that stop. It's called the A train now, because we A batteries and shit. It's the A train. It stops at the police station where they got us in the Frame, and Frame Street is over there. And Frame is like a box, a square, like a pizza box and shit like that. Because I also look like a Ninja Turtle and stuff like that. But my favorite color is orange, and I ain't had nothing up but green and white on it. But anyway, that's beside the point I'm trying to make now. Because again, I'm finna knock the Mario coins out this bitch. You hear me? So stay tuned. And I want y'all to remember, we had stories told about us about the Underground Railroad. Now, I ain't saying them stories is not accurate and true and everything like that, but I gotta tell you that we are living in a loop. And so they're gonna keep looping stories, whether it be true or not, to have us believe that we Underground Railroad. Now stay with me. Now, if the train tracks were to keep going, they would run right into Texas Women's University, but it didn't. It stopped, and then started another track somewhere else that bypasses Texas Women's University, but it's on the backside of Texas Women's University, which is Bell, like Liberty Bell, and Mingo, because bingo and mingo and shit like the M and the B and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna go there right now, but stay with me.